So if I had to describe Berkeley students in 3 words, I would describe them as creative, competitive, but also very welcoming. There are many different communities on campus, but the communities that I've come into are just very loving, artsy, welcoming communities, accepting of all types of people.
For freshman admissions, we expect students to take a rigorous college prep curriculum in their high schools. We also expect a minimum 3.0 GPA for students in the state of California, and for those out of state, a 3.4 minimum GPA. UC Berkeley is test-free, which means we do not consider standardized exams such as the SAT and the ACT. We do, however, review for non-required exams such as the SAT subjects, APs, and IBs.
At Berkeley, our admission process is holistic. That means that we look at every part of your application as a whole to get to know you as a student and as a person to determine if you'd be the right fit for Berkeley. So yes, we are looking at your academic performance, what you put on that self-report, how you're doing in your classes and what classes you're taking, the rigor of your curriculum. We're looking at those extracurricular activities, those personal insight questions. But with holistic review, none of those individual parts of the application carry more weight than another.
When we really think about holistic review, it's important for everyone to recognize that we're not just admitting a GPA or a test score. We really are trying to build a community of scholars here. And so it's not just about what they've accomplished, but it's about who they are.
But also what you're doing outside the classroom, such as extracurricular activities. Those can include from work to volunteer services and clubs or sports. Explaining that in your application is going to really help us understand all the time that you're spending in the classroom and outside the classroom.
My name is Kate. I use the she series of pronouns. I'm a 3rd-year molecular and cell biology major in the College of Letters and Science. Coming to the Bay Area from a very small town was pretty hard. It was very eye-opening for me. I came from a class of 130 students, and now going to Berkeley, my graduating class is roughly 7,000 students. It was a big wake-up call in the sense that there were a lot of different people and I felt like I didn't know everyone, and that scared me. But now that I've met a lot of people, I realize that it's just so nice because there's always someone interested in what you're interested in, and there's always someone new to talk to, so you're never bored of where you are. Transitioning from the East Coast was a wake-up call. I did not expect the culture shock that I got, but for me it was really nice to meet a lot of new people. I feel like I'm definitely a more amicable person now, and I just love to meet new people, hear about their experiences, and I think the Bay Area has so much to offer that it was a really good place to move to just so I could try so many new things.
So not only is our admission process holistic, it's also contextual. We're understanding your performance in your classes and those classes that you're taking within the context of the high school that you're in and the opportunities offered there.
When we review your application, we have a lot of information about your school. We know the type of curriculum, we know the average GPA, we know the number of APs or IBs that are offered. We also know the setting of your school, whether it's in an urban setting or a rural setting, etc. And then of course there are some things that we don't know about you as a person. So really use those personal insight questions and the other parts of the application to let us know who you are.
We're looking at your extracurricular activities and what you share through those PIQs within the context of your school community, your home community, your family community as well.
We're looking for a sustained involvement in these activities as well as leadership opportunities. And leadership can mean different things to different people. It can be the president of a club or the captain of a team. It can also mean leadership responsibilities at home. Maybe you have siblings that you're taking care of or a parent. It can also mean responsibilities at the job. Maybe you help train people. So leadership can be described in many different ways.
I think Berkeley is one of those places where initiative is everything. If you put yourself out there, you'll definitely find people and groups to join that will be perfectly up your alley. I'm involved with a couple of different things. I'm a TA for one of the undergrad CS courses. I'm involved in the Berkeley Student Cooperative where I live. I joined a consulting group, Valley Consulting Group. I helped run our university hackathon, Cal Hacks, and I served on the MET student board as well. The academic environment here has been really welcoming, at least in my experience. I think that it's been really easy for me to make friends, form study groups, project partners, and I think a large part of the Berkeley experience in classes is partnering up with other people and working with them, and I've definitely had a great time, made a ton of lifelong friends along the way.
School and personal context is a very important part of the application process. We want to know as much information about you as possible, including your family's educational history, any educational context that we can learn about you, any personal circumstances. All of that information we get from the application that you fill out, but it's really the personal insight questions where you really have the opportunity to flesh that out a little bit more and let us know who you are as a person and how those experiences have affected you.
Ultimately, what we're interested in is what makes you tick. We're interested in not only who you are as a student, but who you're going to be as a community member and a person on our campus. So I recommend that you think about what you're passionate about, what your goals are, what interests you. All of those are great topics that you can use for your personal insight question.
So at the end of the day, what you really want on your application is you, right? Who you are, what makes you who you are, what drives you, what you're passionate about. This is really a place where you can put everything you can about yourself onto an application. What you want is to showcase and highlight the best parts of you. That could be success or it could be failure. And to show that you're growing either through a success or a failure really shows what kind of person you are.
So when I first came to Berkeley, finding my communities, I had known I wanted to stay true to like my ethnic communities and also delve a little bit into art communities. So on campus, you'll find that there's a lot of clubs that try to get you to join their organization by flyering you, and that's how I found most of the clubs that I had joined. So some organizations that I found myself going in and out was the Black Resource Center through the African American Student Development Office on campus. Also Bridges Multicultural Resource Center, an organization that recruits and retains first generation low-income students of color to campus. And then also some arts organizations. I was part of a student org under Cal Performances called SAFTA, where we would just try to get students to come to Cal Performances events. And then also in a student-run, student-led magazine on campus called Bear Magazine.
I encourage you to be the type of student that's ready to dream big, be bold, step into the debate, because the world is really waiting for you. And if that sounds like something that describes who you are, then I think that Berkeley is the place for you. Berkeley is an institution that from the beginning has been one around the student voice, lifting and raising concerns for the greater good. And so I think for anybody who has an interest on really challenging the society that we live in and making it a better place, no matter, again, what your interest is, whether that's the arts or the sciences, Berkeley's absolutely the place for you to consider.
Be authentic, be you. Don't try to be anyone else because that's what you think we might want you to be. Be your authentic self. And go Bears!